Congratulations on the victory. Initial thoughts after a performance like that?
For me, it's always going back to the drawing board, win or lose. I know I have some improvements to make, so going to get back in the gym pretty soon and get right back to work for the next fight.
Round two, she kind of had you stuck in a couple submission attempts in there. Even the commentators thought she had a couple deep chokes in there. Was anything, were you in danger at all in there?
I was never in danger. I obviously knew I was losing position a few times, but I never felt in danger of a choke or anything else. Everything I was very aware of that was happening and just working on trying to get back up and in better position or reversing it on her. Took me a little bit longer than I had wished.
At the end of round two, when you finally did up, you kind of swarmed her to close out the round, and then you came out the same way until you got the dominant position two. How much confidence did that, between 2 and 3, did that late flurry carry over into the next round?
I think it gave me some confidence. I had already taken her down, I think, in the first round, so that wasn't the issue. It was just a matter of like a game plan that we had actually worked of. She may be like all hyped up that she got me on the ground even if she gets in dominant position, but it's about getting back up and attacking her and not giving her a rest as soon as I get up.
And then you also were throwing up some submission attempts in the round 3. Was anything close, or were you close to securing anything in there?
Not really. I think I was good positionally, but I needed to let go even sooner than I did and start striking and using that positional dominance to actually strike and be more dominant in the judges' eyes. I think I did a better job of adjusting to that. Like I said, always improvements to be made more so.
Then the commentators were making a lot about the size difference. It says that eventually you might have to go up to bantamweight. But in this fight specifically, could you feel a significant strength advantage against Jillian?
I feel like I always feel a significant strength advantage. Honestly, being strong is one of my biggest strengths. People have always said it. At first in my career, I didn't like it because nobody gave me credit for my technique. Now I think it's all well-rounded. Everybody sees all of it. I will never go to bantamweight. That's not an option for me. I'm short. I am smaller. I just have a lot of muscle on my frame, and I'll adjust to that as need be as I age. But for now, flyweight's my home, and I feel very strong there and like I'm in a dominant position in most opponents.
And then you had mentioned something about a rough weight cut leading into this fight. Was that just because it was 2 back-to-back cuts, or was there something specifically?
That was mainly it. Yeah, just everything happens, especially being a female and stuff. There's sometimes rough weight cuts, but the back-to-back was a problem. I've been fighting being a little bit sick for the last like 4 weeks, so just everything kind of piled on top. I still made weight. I still did good, and we muscled through it. But at the end of the day, it was a little bit rough. I think it hurt my cardio just a little bit, but felt good in that fight, ready to get back in there and improve even more and look like a different fighter every time I walk into the cage.
And finally, I know you have a lot going on in your life outside of fighting too, but how soon do you want to get back into the octagon? Is there a specific name you want for your next test?
I'm thinking end of June, beginning of July is when I'd like to be back in there. I'd like to have a full fight camp, not any 4-week, 3-week call-ups. You know, the end goal for all of us as flyweights, I think, is to fight for that title, fight Valentina Shevchenko. Everybody gives everyone a problem for saying that, you know, especially with it being my second fight in the UFC. But I don't plan on fighting her my next fight. That's not what I mean. I mean, within 2 years, I want to be there. I want to work my way up. And if that means going through one sister first, I will.
Hey, Miranda over here. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Was your dad able to make it out for this one and bring the corner?
My dad is able to make it out this time. I was very excited for that. So he was in my corner. He's more the timekeeper and my moral support over there for now, but he was able to make it, and I'm very glad.
Can you talk about what that means? Because obviously he wasn't there for your UFC debut, and this is his first time experiencing you as a UFC fighter.
Yes.
I have to imagine he was even more special than the other fights he's been in.
I wouldn't say it was more special. It gave me almost more motivation last time he wasn't there, because I know he's at home just biting his fingernails the whole time I'm in there fighting. He gets much more nervous and anxious than I do. This time, you know, I love just having him there. He was here the whole time I did my weight cut. Weight cuts are really hard on him to watch for me, especially when they're rough like this one was. But he's there for me. He's my mental coach. He's the one who basically, wouldn't say forced me into the sport or anything, but he's been there since I started the sport, encouraging me all the way up and being in my corner. So it's very special to have him there, and it's something that not many people have, and I'm blessed to have a father and a family that's so supportive of what I do.
Can you discuss a little bit about having to reset a bit, because the last fight, it was canceled, you know, the day of, you have to push it back a couple of weeks, just having to make that adjustment after you'd already completed camp?
There was no adjustment. It was just a 4-week extension of the last fight camp. Same opponent, same game plan. I just go in there trying to improve 1% more every single day. That's how it always is, whether I'm in fight camp or out of fight camp. So I was ready for it. I'm glad it was the same opponent, honestly, because we didn't have to change anything. It was just grinding out those next 4 weeks.
Do you have more or less homework to deal with when you get home?
Oh, more. By far more. These last 2 days, my last class was on Wednesday night, and I had some homework to do even the day that I was doing weight cutting. About Thursday at 5 o'clock, I got done with everything that I was required to get done, and the rest of the days I've been focused on the fight. But actually, tomorrow on the plane, I'll be working on stuff the whole way home.
My final question, I know you recently appeared in a film, Life After the Cage, if I'm not mistaken. For people watching or who haven't heard about it yet, what would they learn about you when they watch the film?
They'd see where that strength comes from. Sorry. It actually has my whole family in it pretty much. It shows that farm background that I'm from, us working on the farm, and just has my dad kind of talking about the background of how I was raised and why basically the way I was raised kind of led me into this sport and made it to where I have an advantage in this sport against most other females.
One last one. Was there more pressure for yourself because, John Anik had been saying a lot, the fight got moved to the main card? It just seemed like compared to the last one, there was even more attention on you.
I don't think that affects me at all, honestly. I'm my harshest critic. I've said that before. My dad's probably my second hardest critic. And my coaches are always there keeping me confident and ready to go every time I step into the cage so that I don't get surprised. I get my butt whooped every day in practice, so getting in there and losing 20 seconds or 2 minutes of a round is no problem for me. Get up and go back to it again. The hype train, I don't want to go in there and be like, well, so-and-so said I'm the best or this good, so I'm just going to go in there and do what I need to. I go back to the gym and I work on becoming that hype train every single day.
Congrats again.
Thank you.
Yes, quick, just for clarification, when you said you would go through any sister to get to the champ, is that about Antonita Shevchenko specifically?
Yes, sir.
So she has a fight with Andrea Lee coming up soon. Are you looking at the winner of that possibly?
Possibly, yes. I'd love to have any ranked opponent, to be honest, but I think it'd be exciting to go through one sister and then the other.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Just one quick one from me.
Yes.
I think they even mentioned on the commentary as well. They kept talking of you as being this prospect, this person coming up. Do you think with a fight like this, and especially over a top 15, are we ready to just get rid of this prospect title, or are you ready to hopefully overtake that role and enter into the top 15?
It's an ironic thing, actually, because the whole time I was in Invicta, I was being called a prospect. Started there at 18, worked up 19, then 20. I'm always a prospect until I was finally a contender for the title, and then I moved to the UFC, started back as the little fish in the big pond, So it's been amusing to be called a prospect again. But honestly, I think here it does fit. I'm this young person, I am up and coming, and until you've basically made it to title contention, you are a prospect in this sport. So I'm ready to just work my way up, and whenever people want to stop calling me the prospect, it'll be clear.
And looking at 2021, what sort of goals are you setting for yourself this year?
2021, top 10.